So what is coming next to our VR goggles?
Oh, goodness. Where do I begin? Do you want me to start with the one where you walk around a walk pit? Do you want me to talk about the paintbrush app? Do you want me to talk about mini golf?
I want you to talk about the one that you did that stood above the rest that you said, oh my goodness, I see the future right now.
I think we talked about the paintbrush last week. Didn't we talk a little bit about the paintbrush app?
We did.
Okay.
Tiltbrush has been sort of cooking for a while. Google's been working on that. They picked up the team that's been working on that one. But it's really hard because the event I went to, which had a dozen demos at all, had so many different ones where every time I went, wow, it couldn't be topped, it got topped.
Wow.
But I would say at the top of my list, there's something called Audioshield, which absolutely blew me away. Now, the team working on this one made something called Audiosurf, which took your MP3s and turned them into Guitar Hero-like levels. Meaning you didn't have to wait for someone to license Led Zeppelin or any of these other big acts to have that one. They unfortunately haven't released any video of their current project. So you get this kind of weird looking screen over there with a bunch of blue and orange stuff. But it's unbelievable in action. You take a song, you pick it, it starts loading it, and you look up and you see all these blue and orange orbs coming at you from the sky. And in your hands, because you're holding these little Wii-like remotes, blue and orange. And you have to punch the blue and orange globes that are coming down from the sky to the beat of the music. As the music gets more intense, the angle changes and the percussion changes and where you need to point at. Sometimes it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the beat. Sometimes it's a little slower. It's very good. I was so impressed for something that's not even out yet to be so good at analyzing music to make that feeling happen. On the flip side, another game that really blew me away was called Hover Junkers, which is the first ever walk pit game, cockpit that you walk around. Now, with these virtual reality systems, the HTC Vive in particular, this is the system, by the way, that lets you walk around. You're not sitting in a chair. You're expected to walk around a full room. And so you can't really do Call of Duty in something like this. Call of Duty expects you to walk all over a giant battlefield. The way they fix this is that you in your walking space in real life is about 9 feet by 12 feet. That 9 feet by 12 feet appears in virtual space as a cockpit. And you walk around, you use one hand to steer your way around. You use your other hand to point and shoot a gun. And you're driving around this desert landscape, hiding behind cover, holding your gun out, bam, 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 shooting some other guy who's playing on the internet, and then using your free hand to either steer around to get around the person or using that hand to grab junk from the battlefield, like this guy's doing right here, and putting it on your cockpit so you can then hide behind the thing that you pick up. Is just unreal, this sort of inventive treatment to coming up with a way to feel like you're in crazy high-tech laser tag. That's only scratching the surface. I haven't even started talking about mini golf for crying out loud.
Wait, I need to stop you before the mini golf. This room-sized VR, do you have a room that you can dedicate to VR, Sam?
As soon as I finished playing all this, I went crazy finding the exact spot in my house, and I found it. I've totally laid it out, I've moved stuff around. But like I said, they've added a webcam. So when you do actually have it, you'll be able, while you have this thing on, to see stuff around you.
Oh,
so that you don't, as crazy as you may look, you can still go, oh, wait, someone's about to prank on me. It'll like pop up with a little webcam feed in your virtual world.
That's what I wondered about that video we were just watching, because he was not in an empty room by any means. There was stuff all around it. I was like, okay, soon he's going to be so lost in the game that he's going to like run into a computer and knock it off the shelf or something. But
so I talked about a bunch. Please go to Ars Technica. It's one of my biggest features from the past week about all these and going in at length. There's just a lot coming, a lot of inventive people, a lot of young people making games that are just really pushing the boundaries of stuff that's not even out yet. This HTC Vive system is expected to come out at the end of April this year. If that happens, I'll be pleasantly surprised, because until something is in my hands, I wonder. But yeah, super cool stuff.
So now do tell us about why we need VR mini golf.
VR mini golf. I think what was so cool about this, because you say that, go, with the Wii, I batted around in golf like that before. But I was actually really pleasantly surprised by this crazy, fantastical VR golf world. I was on top of a mountain, and I go, well, where's my ball going to go when I putt it? And I walk to the edge of the room and look over the edge of a cliff, and I can see the trail that it would go around, and was able to aim my shot accordingly and get a hole in one. It was that sort of weird moment that was so easy. The guy handed it to me and said, I don't have to tell you what to do. It's mini golf. There was no instruction manual. It was just the muscle feeling of using my hand to putt in VR. It's one of those things that once you do it, you really do drink the Kool-Aid. It is hard to show off in a screenshot. It's hard to show in a video. That feeling of being totally immersed, of all the sounds in your ears matching up, of all the visuals matching up as you walk around, it's been nailed. It's impressive stuff. It's going to be expensive, and that's going to be a big problem. But people like me are going to be at the front lines, holding $1,000 in their hands, saying, "All right, that's my entertainment budget. I'm just, not going to eat food for a couple months while I live in this weird virtual cocoon."
I was a gamer of the days of yesteryear, and then I've taken a long break from considering myself any sort of hardcore gamer for years and years. I have a feeling I'm going to totally get into VR. It's the really strange feeling. Hearing you talk about it gets me so excited about the possibilities of VR.
I have problems. I'm losing friends left and right. They're all
I guess that's the downside.
We'll see you next year.
Yeah. Now, speaking of VR, the Unreal Engine is getting all VR-y. Is that right?
That is right. I got a call earlier this week saying we have an announcement about VR. And I said, Unreal, you're already powering some VR games. Unfortunately, there's a lot of these engines that people use to generate stuff for their video games. Unreal's sort of fallen behind compared to something called Unity. So they came back and said, okay, we're going to make a what you see is what you get VR game maker. The idea being you've started making a game with your 2D computer, making some art assets and all this sort of thing. You want to try it out, put on a headset, and then you can be inside of the game that you're still making.
Wow.
And you're like a puppeteer. This video here is showing someone who's bouncing back and forth between being inside the game and being a puppeteer. He looks kind of like a maniac if you watch him move his head around and his hands around. But he's so able to quickly grab stuff in 3D space and go, I need this to be here. I need it to be this size. He even can pull up a little virtual iPad to ship for other menu commands and advanced options, so that while he's in the VR space, he doesn't have to return to the keyboard and mouse, that he can live in this VR space and feel what it's like to be in the virtual world he's creating. When I talk to the guys, this is from Epic Games. They've been making games forever, including the Gears of War series. They said that they already have totally bitten the VR bullet. They really want a world in which everything they use, including Windows, can just work in VR. It's that one guy described it as, these are motions I do 1,000 times in a few hours of having to move stuff around. And doing so with my hands as opposed to a weird mouse, it means that I'm doing all the 3D stuff immediately. I don't have to use keyboard shortcuts to change X, Y, and Z axis stuff. I am immediately moving things around in 3D. This is the sort of thing that if people who are making all of our 3D experiences are going VR crazy, the people who are going to be playing them, I think, are going to follow suit.
Yeah, well, watching this a little bit, I see a little bit of kind of like jitter with the controls.
Absolutely.
That would bug me over time.
This is an earlier version, and actually one of the coolest things about the HTC Vive, the newer version, is that they've really done a lot to get that judder down. In fact, there's some sacrifices in order to get that judder effect away, because that's such a deal breaker. The experience I had, because that's with an older version, assuming they really do nail the judder, that's going to be a really crucial thing to making people love VR. It's pretty cool.